Today, we are going deep on the hidden forces that pretty much run our digital lives. But what if I told you that the blueprint for our entire social media world, all that pressure to share, to perform, was actually written way back in 1984? In this explainer, we're going to unpack a manuscript that was discovered not too long ago, and it predicted all of this with, frankly, startling accuracy. You know that feeling, right? That constant, low-level pressure to post about your vacation, to share your opinion, to get that perfect shot. It often feels less like a choice and more like something you're just supposed to do. Like you're putting on a performance for an audience you can't even see. Well, what if that feeling isn't an accident at all? Okay, here's where it gets wild. The French philosopher Michel Foucault seemed to understand our world before it even really existed. In his very last unpublished work, he laid out a theory that just uncannily describes this modern compulsion to share everything. He had a name for it, the apparatus of transparency. So let's dive into his first big idea. Foucault's main argument is that we've all walked right into what he calls a transparency trap. This need to perform isn't some personal quirk, you know? He argues it's actually a new and incredibly powerful form of social control. This quote right here, it just flips our whole idea of power completely on its head. See, we usually think of power as something that tells people to shut up, something that censors and represses. Foucault says, nope, the new power does the exact opposite. It doesn't want you to be silent. It demands that you speak. It incites you to share, to talk, to expose every little part of yourself. So that's the absolute crucial point here, this fundamental reversal. It's like the entire operating system of power has been inverted. This next slide breaks down exactly what that huge shift looks like. This chart just nails the comparison. On the left, you've got old power. Think of like a medieval king. It worked through secrecy, right? The king was hidden away in his castle, and he punished you if you broke the rules. But look at the right, new power. It works through total transparency. It doesn't just punish you for doing wrong. It demands you confess everything. Under this new system, power itself is invisible, but the subject, that's you're the one who has to be completely visible all the time. But here's the thing. This urge to confess, to put it all out there, it's not actually new. Foucault argues that it's a habit that's been trained into our culture for centuries. It's just evolved through different places, each one demanding that we tell the truth about ourselves in a slightly new way. And you can see that evolution super clearly on this timeline. Just look at this progression. We went from whispering our sins in the dark, private space of a confessional booth to revealing the secrets of our bodies to doctors, to basically narrating our entire life stories to psychiatrists. Each step made the confession more and more detailed. And now, today, well, the confession has gone completely public. The status update bar is our new confessional, but the audience isn't just one priest anymore. It's everybody, all at once. So if the confessional has gone public, who or maybe what is the new priest that's listening to all of this? Well, according to Foucault's manuscript, it's not a person. It's the modern engine that's driving this entire system, the algorithm. Foucault had a term for this, algorithmic governmentality. It's a bit of a mouthful, but think of it less like a commander shouting orders and more like an architect designing a building. It doesn't force you to go into a specific room, but it designs the hallways and the doorways to make certain paths feel way more natural than others. It just gently nudges you, sorts you, and shapes the whole digital world you move through. And here's basically how it works in 4 steps. First, it extracts. It grabs data from everything you do. Every single click is a little trace. Second, it correlates. It finds patterns in all those traces. But get this, it doesn't need to know why you do what you do. Third, it uses those patterns to predict what you'll probably want or do next. And finally, it intervenes. It actively shapes your world by feeding you certain content, certain ads, or suggesting certain friends. Now, this leads to a really profound shift in how the system actually sees us. It doesn't see you as an individual anymore, a whole, indivisible person. Instead, Foucault says you become a dividual. You're seen as a divisible collection of data points that can be sorted and reshuffled. Your shopping habits go over here for an advertiser. Your political opinions go over there for a campaign. Your risk score goes to a bank. And here's the absolute genius of the system. We experience being broken up into all these little data points as a good thing. We call it personalization. You know that feeling when an app just gets you? That's the algorithm. But Foucault would say it's a massive illusion. The system doesn't actually recognize you. It's just correlating your data patterns. It doesn't know you. It just knows what people like you tend to do. Okay, so if we're all caught in this invisible trap, what can we possibly do about it? Is resistance even possible? Foucault actually thought so, but not through some grand revolution. Instead, he points to small, tactical things he called counter-conducts. So these aren't about, smashing the system, but more about learning how to jam the gears a little. Like data asceticism is simple, just a digital detox. But algorithmic detournament is kind of fun. It basically means actively confusing the algorithm. Ever liked a bunch of totally random stuff online just to mess with your recommendations? That's what he's talking about. Or profile proliferation, creating multiple online selves. You have your professional account, your personal one, maybe that private account just for close friends. The goal isn't really to disappear. It's to introduce a little friction, a little unpredictability, back into a system that just wants you to be a perfectly predictable pile of data. And this really is the final unsettling question that Foucault's work leaves us with. If being visible has become a kind of trap and sharing is a form of control, then what on earth does it even mean to be free in our digital world? Definitely something to think about.